Now, the next one is kind of a technical question because it is concerning how to make the choice between doing an assignment or doing a double closing. Okay? And the question is basically, how do I know when to assign a property or to double close on a property? Okay, well, there's a couple of factors, and really the biggest factor is how much money you're making on the deal, okay? If it's me, and this is just my opinions on this stuff. This is how I handle my business. Factor number one, how much are you making on the deal? If you're making something like, $500 or $1,000 or, $2,000 or $3,000, something in that range, usually you're going to be safe assigning the property. The thing you have to watch out for is when you get up into the higher dollar figures, when you're making, 5, 10, 15,000 or more on some kind of deal, that's when you want to be more strategic and probably, for me, I would choose to go to a double closing if you're getting up in the dollar figures like that. Reason being, whenever you have your assignment fee on the HUD, people are going to be, all the parties involved in the transaction are going to see that assignment fee on the HUD. It's going to say, $3,000 payable to you via an assignment fee. Everybody's going to see it. It's going to be public knowledge. So you're less likely to raise a bunch of red flags with people or, have somebody questioning, what you did to deserve, that kind of money, if the dollar figure is lower. For me, if you stand to make, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 on a deal, for me, it is basically just cheap insurance to choose to do a double closing, because when you do the double closing, you are actually buying the house. If you're using transactional funding, you've got, you got to pay your transactional lender, and you've got to pay closing costs. You've got to pay for, the title report and such as that. So you've got these expenses if you're double closing on the house. However, if you're making a good chunk of money, it's better to go ahead and pay for those expenses and do a double close to keep, that big chunk of money off of the HUD. Because, still, example's sake, you got a $3,000 assignment fee on a HUD, nobody's really going to care about that in most cases. If you've got a $30,000 assignment fee on the HUD, people are going to be like, what on earth is this line item right there? Because, essentially that money is coming out of somebody's, somebody's cut one way or another, whether it's the seller who, really sold the house cheap. They're going to feel like they got ripped off for selling the house too cheap, or, on the buyer side, the buyer could feel like they're getting ripped off because they're paying too much for the property. You see what I mean? So, that's kind of how I choose to do an assignment or a double closing. It's just, I kind of base it on the dollar figure, $2,000, $3,000 or less, maybe up to $5,000. Go the assignment route. You can save some money on, your closing costs and not having to use transactional funding, that kind of thing. Or, do the double close if you're making more money on it, just so nobody sees how much money you're making. Your profit is not on the HUD when you do a double close. So that's why you would choose to go that route based on your dollar figure. So that's how I choose whether to do assignment or double closing. I hope that helps.